Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I'm going to be talking about my exchange experience studying abroad at the University of Exeter. Exactly this time last year, from January to June of 2024. I constantly get DMs from people asking questions about mainly accommodation, but I might as well talk about everything. I really wish that there was a video like this before I went on exchange, although it was fun to just dive into the deep end not kind of knowing anything. It's always helpful to get kind of an idea about it. It's helpful, it's safer, it's a bit more exciting. So at this point it kind of only makes sense to make a whole ass video about it. In summary, I was on exchange for 6 months in Exeter in England, and my home uni is here in Amsterdam at the University of Amsterdam. So I barely traveled compared to everyone else who traveled from like Canada, Australia. I literally traveled 1 hour flight from Amsterdam to Bristol and then a short train ride to Exeter, and that was my travel journey. So despite being geographically really close to my home uni and having been to England like hundreds of times, it was honestly still the best 6 months of my life, and it finished my uni career on a real high just because of how different the UK unis are to, for example, Amsterdam. But compared to everyone else's experience, I think it was just my experience here in Amsterdam that just like felt a bit off and not fully the student experience life that the UK is known for. It just kind of felt like real life was on pause and I could just escape for 6 months, be a new person, meet everyone from scratch, and just temporarily live that carefree, different person life. Having 6 months to mess around, and the fact that everyone was also just there for 6 months. Everyone was just in the same boat and just like on a high, down to do anything, be spontaneous, go on these trips. And I loved that everyone was from everywhere. Everyone's different perspectives and lifestyles and what they're used to, what they're not used to. And just a bunch of random people coming together from all over the world in this one spot for 6 months only. You meet a bunch of people. The ages ranged from like 19 to 26, maybe more. There were some master's students as well as like second year, third year students. So basically I'm just going to be talking about everything that I experienced and what I would do if I could do it all over again, because I feel like that's the most helpful for you guys. I just want to start off by saying that if you have friends not going on exchange, because I was the only one who went on exchange out of everyone I knew of other people going, but like 2 people from my uni, because the University of Amsterdam, especially English courses, everyone's moved from abroad already, and so this is their study abroad experience, and I completely get that. And that's why I was like so happy to not even go anywhere, because moving to Amsterdam was already an unusual but special thing, you know? I wanted an additional abroad experience to my already existing abroad experience in Amsterdam. For context, I moved from Dubai to Amsterdam for uni and then wanted to go on exchange in the UK, because considering the prices I was paying to study here, it just made sense to go to an expensive ass uni, because I was basically paying the same price as the local students in England, but as an international, because the fees in the UK are fucking crazy, as we all know. I mainly just wanted to say that if you don't have friends going abroad and you want to, just go. Like, you don't need anyone. You're gonna go back to your real life anyways. So I know for comfort reasons it makes sense to go abroad with friends, but when I tell you, people who did that, they just stuck to themselves and I never saw them ever again. They were with each other for 6 months and it's like, what was the point? Like, did you not want to branch out and meet other people? But I get it, going back home and still having that experience with them. But just, you don't need to follow your friends, is my point. Because the whole reason for also doing this is get out your comfort zone, because you're in a complete new environment, so why would you purposely plan to go abroad with someone? Just do your own thing. It's literally just 6 months. Another thing, this is a sidetrack, but do not get romantically interested in anyone, because 6 months flies by as it is, but you know how time goes by faster when you're like crushing on someone, or like you are seeing someone and like you see them every week. Those weeks fly by, and then at the end of it you're just heartbroken. Like, why would you sign up for that? Because you're probably not gonna stay together and you're probably from complete different parts of the world. I had a flatmate who the guy was from Germany, the girl was from Australia, and since they were my flatmate and like they were together all the time, towards the end of the exchange they were so down bad and crying. I just felt so bad. I mean, you can't help it if you like someone, just try not to. I don't know. I think in the moment you're just so sad when you could be leaving exchange on a high and just like appreciate it. But if you're heartbroken, you're just heartbroken. About Exeter, it's a tiny ass town. When I tell you it's literally one road, it's literally one road. So if you like small towns, if you like a student town, definitely go to Exeter. It's so nice and small that you run into everyone. It's good and bad. I thought it was cute at first, but then towards the end, like, I was not bothered. Like, on the days that I didn't want to see anyone and I was alone, I would have seen someone out on the streets. Defeated the purpose of me wanting to be alone. I've heard people say this as well, but Exeter is definitely more about the people than the place, because you kind of do the same thing all over again because it's so small. You run into the same people at the same place because it's so small. It's a uni town, so everything is kind of for students. There's kind of nothing new, but take that as you will. I think that it was the nothing new to do, but in the best way possible. Yeah, personally I don't think I could have stayed for any longer than 6 months because I am a city girl at heart, but just for the student experience, I'm really glad that I went to Exeter. Another thing is Exeter is known for its campus, so everyone kind of is at uni all day and they also hang out at uni, and I love that because my uni here, especially for humanities, was literally one building, and we would go for class for like 2-3 hours and then I would just go straight home. And the city itself isn't really for students, and that's why I wanted to go to student town. I loved being on campus all day every day. Yeah, like even having social plans on campus and just texting people spontaneously being like, yo, you on campus. Another thing about UK unis, which I'm sure you know about, is societies are really big, so I really recommend joining societies. Literally go out of your comfort zone. There's a society for everything. Harry Potter, writing, hiking, every sport you can think of, F1, any kind of hobbies, there's a society for. Taylor Swift, drawing, crocheting. I was in body sock and football. I really recommend body sock because classes for like 1 hour were £2. I was technically in the body sock society, but I never went to the socials. I never like hung out with anyone from there. I never spoke to anyone. I literally just went to the class and left. Football was my main one, and I had like 4 other friends also on exchange, and we all just walked to and from football together, and we became like a mini friend group in itself. That was like the only time that I bonded with local students, which is a shame. But then again, I know a lot of people who never even spoke to any local students, definitely not made friends. Kaya, Megan, Lily and I. Megan from the States, Lily from Australia, Kaya, Hong Kong, me, Amsterdam. We were the only exchange people playing football, and so we attended socials once a week, once every 2 weeks. So yeah, we did make friends with local Exeter students. Since societies are so big, the socials are also really big. People dress up for the themes. People drink like crazy, go clubbing after. Exeter is a really sporty uni. Incredible sports facilities, literally for every sport at a pretty intense level. So if you want to try something new, you definitely can. If you want to get back into a sport you used to do, you definitely can. That's what I did. I hadn't done football in like 4 years because of my torn ACL, but this was my time to get back into it. It could be friendly. Everyone was on a different level. Now for my main questions. Accommodation. I was also really worried about accommodation, but since it's a student town, worst case scenario, there's always going to be something. It's not like Amsterdam where you're absolutely fucked and you just can't go. I stayed at James Owen Court, which is the only option unless you apply really late. James Owen Court, there's 2 entire building blocks. I think there's 5 building blocks, and 2 of them were entirely for exchange students, and we would have prees there all the time. You're on a floor with 8 people in total. You have your own bathroom. You literally just share the kitchen and like living space. It was a pretty tiny room. Doro from Germany says that it looks like German prisons. It's a single bed, but I was just personally glad that I had my own bathroom and shower. I don't mind sharing a kitchen. You're literally sharing it with 7 others, so it's really not that bad. It's more social. Everyone, as I said, is there for 6 months. You're gonna have friends in the same block, in the block next door. You're always just gonna be hanging out. Friend group, one of them lived in Laugh. One of them lived on, oh, the depot. Oh my god. The depot was where most international students stayed at. I had a few exchange friends who also lived there because they were too late, I think. Accommodation wise, I'd really recommend James Owen just because you have 2 entire blocks full of exchange students who are in the same boat as you. You're gonna be there all the time anyway because that's where the socials are, or like the pre's are. You're just gonna get closer if they're your flatmates. So I had 2 close friends who lived in the block next door. I also was friends with all my flatmates, or most of them. Kaya lived at Trust House just opposite. Sophie lived at the depot, which has a social area as well for table tennis, outside seating, pool. It was a huge ass student accom. If you look at Exeter, like, this is literally all of it. Campus is there. Sidwell Street is one word. My friends and I went to the golf range actually a few times. It was so much fun. I've never done that before. Go to the Clifton Hill golf driving range. Cafes, the Sunset Society was next to my comm. My favorite ever was the undergrad. Insane. The food, the drinks, the vibe, study there. Oh my god, one of my favorite places was the Old Firehouse, which is kind of everyone's favorite anyways, but the garlic bread flatbread, that just unlocked something. I need that. They're known for their drinks and pizza, but their garlic flatbread is the same size as the pizza, but it's in the side section, so it's like really fucking cheap, even though the size of it should be the same price as the pizza. Also, I would have paid the price of the pizza because it was that good. Opposite James Owen, actually, fucking insane Thai food called iFood. iFood Thai Taste. I went there so many fucking times. The Impy is the Imperial Weatherspoons. Go in the spring, summer, sit outside, everyone's gonna be there. Such a great vibe. If you want to splurge a little bit, go to Mill on the X. Rosa's Thai for mango sticky rice. Exeter has a bunch of Asian supermarkets to find any food that you need. I was quite obsessed with Pink Ginger Flower Cafe because they had Japanese desserts, hojicha latte, matcha, everything. All Stars Sports Bar, I had a lot of socials there, and I played pool there as well a few times. If you want to play pool, Nando's. Ooh, this was cute. Eat on the green. I had some scones. You sit outside in front of the cathedral. This is so bad, I'm forgetting everything. Oh my god, they have amazing curly fries. The Ram Bar. Oh, yum. The curly fries. And people would just like be drinking on campus with their laptops out, do assignments there because it was literally in the main building. Oh my god, £2 lunches. My friend group and I would get £2 lunch like once a week, and that would be our hangout, and we would plan it like in advance, sometimes a few times a week. International student, there's free pastries and coffee twice a week at the International Cafe, so that would also be our little hangout once a week. Like at 10 AM we would walk together, hang out there. They had some activities sometimes, walk home. In the warmer months, definitely go to the nearby areas. I went to Plymouth, which is a bit further, Exmouth, which everyone goes to. I've been to Dawlish, Warren. Kaya went to literally everywhere. I would say my favorite place is Dawlish. Warren, have a bunch of memes there. The Quay is like the river. You just walk along. There's only like one club called TP, which is crazy for a student town. There are more clubs, but everyone just goes to TP, which is ironic because I had been to Exeter before. I went for a sleepover. It was a birthday party, high school friends. I flew from Amsterdam to Bristol and then went to Exeter for one night. I had gone to TP. The fact that I've been to TP and then it ended up being like the club that I went to because it was like the only club there. It's kind of where at the end of society socials, everyone just ends up at TP. You need to get a ticket beforehand on Flixer. There's time slots, and every week the tickets are released. You have to be the first to get it if you want to get a later time. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck with the early times, and you have to be at TP and be there before the club even opens because there's time slots. And obviously most people want the later times because that's when it's more full. And that's just how the club works. But yeah, if I could do it all again, I would literally do everything that I did. I can't lie. I'd probably go to more societies. Probably try and integrate more with the football friends that I made because I never really hung out with them outside of football training and socials. I did a few times with my other friends, but I feel like it was never to the personal extent that meant that I left exchange with friends who still are there, which is a shame. Apart from some who went to my school in high school in Dubai. They're still there. I would say Exeter is all in all in the UK a really good location because the Bristol airport is literally a 1.5 hour bus, 1 hour train less, and Bristol airport flies everywhere. There's a really big train station. Trains from there go all over the UK. Otherwise, Bristol Temple Meads goes everywhere. Everyone's really spontaneous. I would get texts all the time being like, yo, I'm going to Spain on Wednesday, who wants to come? Or like, everyone was kind of out at all times, which was a shame. So I had a friend group, but it was so rare that all like 6 of us were there at the same time. One of them went from New Zealand, one of them went from Canada, and so they kind of went to Europe to travel around Europe, which makes so much sense. But I was the opposite, and I had just flown from 1 hour, so I didn't really mind not traveling. If you do make friends, you go on trips all the time, which is fun. So spontaneous in that people don't go to uni, they're gonna be traveling. I would say education I got there, I had the most interesting classes compared to the 3 years I've had in Amsterdam. And I've gotten along well with the 3 teachers that I had, more than I've ever talked to the teachers that I've had here, apart from one. Because it's UK culture, British people are so like kind, friendly, funny. It's more personal. Every class I went to, I left with like such a good vibe because I either talked to the teachers, the lecturers, or they would say something personal and I'm like, oh my god, that was so funny, which made classes so engaging. And yeah, the courses I took was so interesting. So in Amsterdam I did media culture, and in Exeter I did like media and communications. So I did topics in art history and visual culture. The other one was contemporary visual practices, and another one was communication challenges. 2 of them were first year courses, so everyone was like freshly 18 out of high school and they did not give a fuck about what they were studying. So as a 21-year-old, I was like, fuck, this is so annoying. But everyone is really kind. I think it's just British culture, so I would not worry about that. Teachers especially. I just loved the teachers that I had, and I just really enjoyed being in class. I was really looking forward to it every day. Also, lectures are literally 1 hour. Seminars, 1 hour or 2. But at UvA, they're 2 or 3 hours and compulsory. But 1 hour lectures really fucked me up because I'm like, damn, people had it this easy in the UK the whole time, and I was stuck in 3, actually 4 hour seminars and lectures sometimes. So 1 hour lecture, I'm like, of course I'm gonna go. Why wouldn't I? It's just 1 hour. There's summatives and formatives, which I'm just not used to. You're gonna pass regardless. Like, I knew people that never went to class. You just don't have to worry in UK unis because you're gonna pass, especially as an exchange student. I think it's something with the grade boundaries as well. Whereas in Amsterdam, the grade boundaries are passes of 5.5 and above, and if you fail, you have 1 chance to resit, and if you fail that, you have to do it the next year. So that's why I have so many friends who did an extra semester, such as me, because the grade boundaries are so strict here, and if you don't get a 5.5, you're fucked. Whereas in England, everyone graduates on time because there is no failing. Envious of that. I really had such a good time, and I left feeling so grateful. Imposter syndrome, can't believe that happened. Best 6 months ever. But also don't pressure it too much, because people do say it's the best 6 months ever, but it also might not be, and that's fine. Like, you're just gonna learn so much about yourself regardless. You're gonna meet so many people regardless. And it's just 6 months. So if you really hate it, the time flies. You're not stuck there. I feel like a year would be a bit different. I just left with having friends all over the world. I'm in New Zealand, which I'm half Kiwi, and I did not really have friends there, so now I do. And you just learn so much about everyone because everyone's from a different background. Everyone has a different accent, but you're just like all in one place temporarily. So yeah, that is my video on being an exchange student in Exeter. Thanks for watching, and I hope that was helpful. Really envious that you're going. Main thing is, if you want a tiny town, go to Exeter. If you don't, don't. Bye!